Being a Quaker school is something that sets George School apart. There aren't a lot of Quaker boarding schools out in the world. And most people wonder, what the heck is Quakerism? Well, Quakerism is a religion. It is not the most popular religion in the world. There aren't terribly many Quakers in the world, but Quakerism is a religion that believes in diversity and plurality of religious thought. So nobody has to be Quaker to be a George School. Nobody has to even believe in God to be a George School. At George School, we simply focus on core Quaker values of simplicity, peace, integrity, community, equality, and stewardship. And what that means for students is that George School is a place where you can truly just be yourself. You don't have to try to look like or sound like anybody else. You don't have to like the same things or have the same talents. If you can just be your authentic self, you will do just fine. It also means that we're a school that is very kind, that is open-minded. We look for students who have strong views about the world, but who are wise and humble enough to understand that others have strong views as well. And our job is to stop, to listen, to think, to have positive and respectful conversation, and maybe come to a great middle. It's a place where we really just treat each other as individuals with kindness at all times. George School is one of the few boarding schools in the United States to offer the IB program overall. It's even more unique that we offer both the International Baccalaureate as well as the AP, or Advanced Placement Program. We believe that there is not one size that fits all in terms of the curriculum. We like to say at George School that we offer rigor without rigidity. So there's not just one path to success. We believe that all students learn and think in different ways, and for some, the IB is the right path. For others, the AP is the right path. For most, it's both. Most of our students will take a mix of courses, traditional courses, AP courses, and IB courses. Approximately 25% of our students will pursue the IB diploma in their 11th and 12th grade years. And both the IB diploma program and AP courses are seen by universities as some of the most rigorous curricula that students can take part in. But it just depends on how you learn and think. The IB covers this much information, and it goes very, very deep. It really focuses on critical thinking, connecting ideas, interdisciplinary learning, communication, research, and the AP covers even more information, and testing is just a little bit different than the IB. If you come here as a 9th or 10th grader, you will have time to decide whether you want to pursue the diploma or whether you want to take a mix of IB and AP classes. Either way, you're going to be fine. You're going to have the opportunity to set a very rigorous curriculum and to work with your advisor and college advisors to find the right academic path. Regardless of the path that you take, we like to teach overall in that IB style, focused on inquiry and finding truth and focusing on critical thinking and research and putting ideas together from across multiple disciplines. So either way, you benefit from being in the IB, and when you're at a boarding school that is so global and you have the IB program, you truly experience a lived IB curriculum with students from more than 40 countries around the world. It really enhances that global curriculum by having global voices in the classroom. We're in year 3 of the new schedule, and it is fairly unique. There are only a handful of schools that break the year up in the way that we do. And what we do is we don't run our year on semesters or trimesters or even quarters. We break our year into 7 5-week terms. And in each 5-week term, there are 4 class blocks a day, and students will take either 3 or 4 classes in a term. They'll meet and have the same classes every day for 5 weeks, and then classes will rotate. It doesn't mean that you're only going to have 5 weeks of English or 5 weeks of math. It will repeat. So you may have English in term 1, term 3, and term 6, and 3 or 4 terms equates the content in a year-long class. We just break it up so that in any term, students will have no more than 3 or 4 homework assignments in a night. They can be deeply focused. They can really dive deep into those subjects and not be overwhelmed with 7 or 8 courses at a time. The schedule allows students to add extra terms in subjects that they're passionate about. Maybe a student wants to be able to take both Mandarin and French. Well, they can do that in the 7-term schedule because they can add extra terms. Maybe a student isn't positive that they want to take a full year of a course, but because of the 7-term schedule, we can have smaller 1-term 5-week courses that give a student a chance to experiment. For example, my son, he is an 11th grader this year. He knows that in senior year, he wants to take either economics or psychology. He just isn't sure which one. So this year in 11th grade, he'll be taking a 5-week intro to psychology and a 5-week intro to economics. And that will give him the chance to dip his toe in and to figure out what it is that he wants to be able to take. What I think is the most fun benefit of the program is that it allows any student who wants to experience study abroad during the academic year. When we are on full year-length courses, students who are enrolled in IB and AP classes can't ever go abroad because they can't miss the content. They'll be really behind when it comes to the test. But in our 7-term schedule, one of your terms can be devoted to a study abroad term. I'm going to put my children in the hot seat and give an example again. My older son, when he was a senior, he spent the first week of term 4 here on campus doing intensive study in environmental science and the social and political history of East Africa. He then spent 2.5 weeks in Tanzania doing field work and service and exploration, and then came back on campus for the last week to do a wrap-up project. And then he picked right back up with his AP and IB classes. So he got that study abroad experience with George School faculty, with his peers, and he didn't have to miss out on his other coursework. So this schedule allows students more focus, more time, better sleep, and an opportunity to truly customize their path. And don't worry, you'll have a great advisor that will help to guide you and think about all the choices that you will have. This is actually several parts that feed into one. And that's with my younger son, who will be an 11th grader. He started taking classes at George School before he even began at George School. The summer between his 7th and 8th grade year, he took a summer academy class in creative writing and public speaking. And the second day of the class, he came home and we were chatting, and the class was taught by a George School English teacher. And he said, "Mom, I didn't know teachers taught like this. They really care." And Chantel made this class sound just so exciting. And his eyes lit up. And that was in a different way than I'd seen it light up when he talked about his public school education, which was a fine education. And then when we were course planning, when he had been admitted and before he started, we were going through and selecting his first year courses. And I watched him look at the choices he had. And it was the first time that he really had the opportunity to set the course of his academics. And then last year, when he was doing his course planning, we were walking to the dining hall together from our home one morning. And I said, "So what did you decide to take for classes?" And he just started buzzing. "Well, I'm going to take this because I really love my science class. So I'm going to take 2 levels of science. I'm going to start intensive biology, but then I'm also going to give intensive physics a try and finish it up in the next year. And then I'm going to take this." And he just got so excited. And here was a child who always did well in school, but wasn't terribly excited by school. And it wasn't until he came here at George School and was inspired by teachers who saw the best in him and inspired by all the choices that he had in his curriculum that he got excited, not just about school, but about the learning process and how he owned that. And I really credit the choice and the curriculum and the support of teachers to helping him spark that true academic interest in a different way. We really do take a very holistic approach. We like to say that students are not numbers, and to us in the admission process, they're not a number, and so we do not distill students and their application to numbers. Most of our students are A and B students. They do very well in the classroom. We do not require the SSAT. We think that it is not the best predictor for academic success, though we do like the writing sample. So as part of the interview, you will do a writing sample, whether you're doing that interview here on campus or online. Don't worry, it's not stressful. Some even find it fun, I promise, but we do a writing sample. We really pay attention. While most of our students are A and B students, we're less concerned about the specific grades, and we're more concerned with how a student acts in the classroom and how they approach their learning. George School is a place where people want to learn. They want to hear different ideas. We're a school that tends to be much more collaborative in the classroom than hyper-competitive. We're not a cutthroat school where people are trying to best one another. We believe that everybody can do well, and they can do well by working together. And so we really are supportive of each other. We look for students who like to contribute in the classroom. We look for students who show academic integrity. We look for students who are creative and collaborative and have an open mind and want to learn about the world and how it is bigger than. We look for students who are engaged in activities that connect them to others. We know that the students who will be most successful here are those who participate in activities out of the classroom. So if somebody is coming to George School and they already have experience working with a team, whether it be a sports team, whether it be with theater, whether it be with Model UN or speech and debate, where they have to collaborate with others and work as a team, then that's attractive to us because we have those things and we know that students are more likely to get involved in that and make connections with others. So some kind of team activity is important. And most of all, we are a school where kindness is central. So students who are kind and open-minded really stand out. And students who really stand out for us when we are a competitive school are students who can articulate why George School appeals to them. Not just boarding school, but George School. What is it about George School that makes them feel a sense of connection? And if a student can do that and articulate that's important, the final thing I would say is students who are authentic. We have a lot of students in interviews that want to come off as perfect, and they want to list all of their accomplishments, which we will read in your application, and we just want to get to know you as a person. So even if the interview is not perfect, even if you stumble on something, that's okay. We would rather have imperfect and authentic than inauthentic and perfect.